What is going on, Big Blue Nation? Welcome to the Kentucky Cavalry channel. As a quick prerequisite, this channel used to be an affiliate podcast for a large sports website, but I have broken away from that website to start my own brand, which is Kentucky Cavalry. We are very active on Twitter as we constantly give updates, opinions, and live game tweeting. The link for that is in the description. Our first video as Kentucky Cavalry is about a very interesting topic involving the Kentucky basketball team. As we await final decisions from guys like Davion Mintz and Keon Brooks as to whether they are staying or leaving, we are also patiently waiting to see which transfers end up in Kentucky Blue next season. The transfer portal has been absolute chaos so far this year, with this being the first season that the one-time transfer rule is in effect. The rule allows every college basketball player the ability to transfer from their current school to another one without having to sit out a year. They can only do that once without having to sit out, but it has caused thousands of NCAA basketball players to test out the transfer waters. Kentucky has had two players enter the transfer portal themselves. Cameron Fletcher and Devin Askew have announced their intentions to play elsewhere next season, and there are rumors that junior forward Keon Brooks will be transferring as well. This means that Kentucky has some spots to fill and will likely do so using the transfer portal. No one really knows exactly who we're going to land, but in terms of the guard position, there are two names that have been getting the most traction in terms of transfer rumors. Minnesota's Marcus Carr and Illinois' Adam Miller have gotten the most buzz from analysts and fans across the country. Some think that we may be able to land both of them, and that is definitely possible. However, today I wanted to give a bit of a synopsis on both players and give my personal opinions as to who would best fit the roster in the event that we can only get one of them. Starting off with Marcus Carr, he's been an absolute stud at Minnesota the past couple of seasons. Carr is a pure scoring guard who works best with the ball in his hands. There have been some concerns about whether Carr can shoot the three ball effectively because he shot a below average 31% from beyond the arc this past season. However, Carr had to carry a massive load from Minnesota as the only guy on that team who could consistently score the basketball. If you look at his previous years, Carr shot a little better from three-point land and actually shot 36% from three in his sophomore season when he wasn't forced to be the only scorer on the team. Carr is also an above-average playmaker and rebounder as he put up 4 rebounds and 5 assists per game this year to go along with his 19 points per contest. Marcus Carr is a guy who can blow past his man, score effectively at the rim, pull up from 3 or mid-range, and facilitate the ball to his teammates while doing so, which we did not have on last year's roster. The main gripe against him is his inefficiency, with his 38% from the field and the aforementioned 31% from 3. I still believe that those numbers are a bit skewed because of his usage rate and how much of a load he had to carry for the Gophers. I think if he was surrounded by better talent who could relieve some of the pressure off of him, he could take better shots and raise his scoring percentages by a lot. Add into that his good playmaking ability and solid positional rebounding skills, and you've got a complete player on your hands. Not to mention, Carr will be a senior next year, so having an experienced guy as the primary ball handler, who also happens to be the complete package as a point guard, would be very nice for this team. Having Carr play alongside sharpshooters Davion Mintz and Kellen Grady would be a great backcourt of 3 senior guards who can all score the ball at an alarming rate. I think Marcus Carr would be an amazing addition for sure. Now, let's look at the other name in this conversation. Adam Miller put up exponentially less than Carr statistically, but there are other things that make Miller an attractive prospect for the Wildcats. First off, Adam Miller was able to be a starter at a top 10 team this season as a true freshman. Illinois was one of the best teams in the entire country until the tournament this season, and Miller was a solid part of that. The freshman thing is another big plus for landing Miller. Marcus Carr would probably only be able to play 1 season at Kentucky because he will be a senior, but Adam Miller will be coming into next season as a sophomore and would be able to return if necessary. Most think that Miller sees himself as a draft prospect after next season, and that is also entirely possible, but leaving the door open for a potential multi-year guard is a nice thought. Let's look at what Adam Miller would bring to the Kentucky basketball team. Miller is a 6'3", 180-pound combo guard. He was a 4-star prospect and a top 50 recruit coming out of high school and had offers from a lot of big-time programs. Statistically, Miller had a decent year as a freshman. He tallied 8.3 points, 2.8 rebounds, and almost 1 assist per game as the off-ball guard for the Illini. If we want a playmaker, Miller might not be the guy for us. His primary weapon is his scoring ability, specifically from three-point land. Miller shot 34% from 3 this season on almost 5 attempts per game, which is pretty average. He showcased a solid floater/runner shot while driving to the rim, but only shot 39% from the field in total. In Miller's case, it's a little bit more forgivable because he was a true freshman playing off-ball for an elite team. Miller reminds me a lot of former Kentucky star Emmanuel Quickley, who also had a shaky freshman year before breaking out as a sophomore. Their playstyles are also very similar, so I can see something happening here with Miller. When comparing Miller to Marcus Carr, there are some things that you have to factor in. Firstly, Carr was the primary scoring option for Minnesota, and the offense flowed completely through him. He put up solid numbers, but those numbers could have been bloated because of how many shots he was taking on a nightly basis. With Adam Miller, his usage was much lower as he was considered the third or fourth option for Illinois, who had All-Americans like Ayo Dosunmu and Kofi Cockburn taking up most of the shots. When it comes to the final consensus on this, it took me a while to decide who I would prefer to have on next year's roster. Again, the possibility remains that we could land both of them. In the event that we can only have one though, I've decided to go with Marcus Carr from Minnesota as my pick. Next year's roster already has two exceptional off-ball guards with Kellen Grady and potentially Davion Mintz if he decides to come back. The main thing with this roster that's missing is a playmaking guard who can penetrate the defense and get the ball to teammates as well as finish at the rim. Carr has shown the ability to do all of that. With more offensive options on the team than he ever had at Minnesota, I think we see Carr's efficiency improve a ton, and I think that he completes the lineup perfectly. A three-guard lineup with Marcus Carr, Davion Mintz, and Kellen Grady, with Carr as the primary ball handler, would possibly be the most experienced and pure scoring backcourt we've ever had. Throw in Oscar Tshiebwe in the post to grab offensive rebounds, putbacks, and pick-and-roll plays, and we've got ourselves a balanced offensive attack that can really score the basketball. Keep in mind, I would love to have Adam Miller as well. If there's the possibility to add both of them, I obviously hope that we can. Marcus Carr is still contemplating staying in the NBA draft, so it's definitely possible that we don't get him. Adam Miller would be a great consolation if that happens. I just think that having a playmaker who can penetrate the defense is more important than adding an off-ball shooter, especially when we already have some. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Kentucky sports news, discussions, and podcasts. We will be covering predominantly Kentucky basketball and football, so if those are your interests, feel free to stick around. Leave a comment below if you have any opinions on today's video. Go Big Blue.